Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Tales with TR, episode 268A. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr. And, by the way, if you want a book or merch or upcoming events or whatever, anything to do with me or my podcast, or anything I do, really, go to terryryan.ca. A lot of people are asking me, and I always forget to make enough posts, and I never really talk about it on here. So check that out. Lots of cool stuff and lots of more merch coming. Thanks to everybody who's bought some. I tried to get some real quality stuff this time. Last time I thought there were a few flaws, which was about a year and a half, I guess, ago, but got some real quality stuff. That was the main goal. So no one's going to get rich doing that. I want to make sure that people enjoy the gear that I'm peddling. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have Trans Sam with them. We're going to catch up with the Sandman in these dog days of summer. I mean, I do the Jason Greger show, and as most of you know, it's a great show. But just like every other show, that sports show, we talk about everything, but it revolves around hockey. Part of Oilers Nation, there's just not a lot to talk about, right? In these dog days, and unless, I mean, for me, it's different because I'm kind of in a way being nostalgic, because a lot of my guests, I'm just talking about things that might have happened in the past or some link we got to a story from back then. On my own podcast, I'm sure you guys have noticed, like, I'm not having people on breaking down the game. There's no like analytics of how are the Columbus Blue Jackets going to do versus the Bruins next week. Who's start. I don't really talk about much that's on the go now. The odd reference. But on the Greger show, we do. I find now it's almost obvious when you do a lot of these shows that we're just searching for a topic, right? Now, why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you? Because there's nothing to talk about. And you got to create some content, and people like to listen and be interactive. That's what I like about his show as well. It's interactive. It's live on YouTube, and probably other places I should know, but I know it's at least on YouTube. So as you're doing the show, you can get a little bit of feedback, and we take Jason responds to live DMs and emails and stuff. So we get to like live interact, and that is fun. But even there, it's tough now, and we're like searching for topics, right? So it's always nice to have a guy like Turan Sam with on. I haven't talked. Samman's one of my best buddies. I haven't spoken to him I haven't seen him in a while. The odd text, but his daughter Chloe just got accepted into film school. I think out at UBC. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But that goes for a lot of you guys that ask me. Like you're. A lot of people jump the gun, right? A lot of hockey players out there, they'll send me a note, and what does it take? Like, how do I get on Shoresy? And then they don't like the answer, because for me, it was a half dozen years of crew work. It was 4 years. I did the degree in 3. So 3, I just went right through the summer. So I did my degree a little bit quick. I did 5 or 6 courses, whatever I could do each semester. And I got done my degree in 3 years and change versus the 4 years. And then, and part of that, I took folklore and English. They were my majors. I had a double major of folklore English. And, that was my Bachelor of Arts. I was going to go on and do education. I got accepted. I was doing education. I was going to be a teacher like my dad. It's a great profession, I think. I still do. A lot of the hours are similar. You get your summers off dealing with people, like I would at hockey schools or whatever. I had a nice connection with most of my teachers. A lot really meant a lot to me. So whenever your role models, or do something that that's possible for you, it becomes an obvious possible choice for profession. So for a lot of reasons, I wanted to go in and do that, but I needed to put food on the table and everything. So, for Tyson and Penny Lane, Tyson was in a bad position. His father just passed away. BJ Young, Danielle had moved over all the way from Alberta. Penny Lane was just born. So That's why I started working on set. But I went back, within that degree, there were film studies courses, and then went on set, man, and was gopher for a few years, and then set dresser. Then became, the odd background. I did the odd stunt, not much. And, after 10 years, I suppose, I got a chance on screen. Well, after 6 or 7, and after 10, I really started getting a few chances, and that would have been Shoresy, right when the right around. So it was a long process. So I don't think people want to hear that. They want to hear me say, "Oh, just go meet Jared, and he'll put you in the show." It's not the way it works. And for some of us, obviously, for a guy like John Morasti, say, yeah, he got the phone call. I don't know the whole process, but he must have auditioned to some degree. But I don't think Nasty ever wanted to be an actor or whatever. So 1 in a billion, it might happen like that, right? But even Dolo was a rapper. Like Dolo was getting into the game, man. He was like a creative guy. That was a good hockey player and everything. But Dolo's a performer, right? Andrew Ansonen wanted to get into acting. And of course, when you need people, and Jared's such a unique person, and the situation was so unique that I can't even think of a parallel. I work in the industry for a long time, working on a lot of shows, man. All these shows I talk about. Then there's movies like Maudie and Skeet. I've been an actor. I've been crew. I've seen TV shows, commercials, all kinds of things. And what happened to us is really unique. But even there, like I don't. The other guys might be different. I don't think I would have gotten the call if I wasn't involved and I didn't put time in. And so that's it. Like anything, you got to put time in. So Chloe just got accepted to go out to UBC and go to film school. She actually came on the set. And I'll tell you about that when I talk to Sandman. But for those of you out there that are curious, or apply to a film school. They're all over Canada. We have one here now. I took some courses in Moncton. There's a film certificate you can do. I think Jamie Skidmore's in charge of it, but now we have through College of the North Atlantic, the Paul Pope program. There's all kinds. Toronto, there's many film studies. I wouldn't know. I think maybe George Brown University, but I know Ryerson offers it. There's more than that though. There's lots. I know they exist in Nova Scotia, a few out west. So like these, and it's really entertaining stuff. It's a different kind of schooling, if you're really interested in it and you don't want to go in and you're part of your school curriculum. You don't want it to be math and chemistry. Understandable if you're not into those things, but you can take a specific course, or set of courses, film studies, film production, all kinds of things that go with the trade, in any arts, film school, whatever, and they're all over the place, and you can go in and educate yourself. And even if you want to take a course, you want to take a whole program and learn how to edit and learn how to put your own stuff out there. I told you, part of all that, I did a short film called The Stand-In, right? You can find that on YouTube. And once I kind of learned a little bit. And I was on set as a production assistant, but like gathering a lot of information. I took some film studies courses, so I knew a little bit about it. And I just recorded that, knowing what I knew and getting help like Roger Monder and Mike Martin. And we, we cut the short, and I just sent it to a bunch of people. There's all kinds of things you can do to help yourself. And it's rarely going to be someone just phones you and says, "Hey, do you want to be in a major TV show?" Right? You might get hit by lightning too. You might win the lotto, but do yourselves a favor if you're interested. Go put some time in. Keith just says Keith in Mexico. I don't think I had anybody listening in Mexico. Maybe you're visiting. I don't want to stereotype. Maybe there's all kinds of listeners that Tales with TR in Mexico. I don't know. But Keith wanted to know if I like Buddy Holly. You must have heard me mention Buddy Holly. Okay, we're getting back into music here. You must have heard me mention it at some point. Yes, I do. He's one of my favorites, and I think I know the most Buddy Holly songs off by heart of any other artist. What are my favorite songs? Oh, God, It Doesn't Matter Anymore, Words of Love. Beatles covered that, by the way. Beatles didn't cover much, many artists, but they loved Buddy Holly. Peggy Sue, Every Day, True Love Ways. God, That'll Be the Day. Rave On. Ray Vaughan's probably my favorite rocker, and my favorite slower love songish would be Words of Love. So anyway, it's too deep. And a lot of you ask me about albums because I talk about albums versus the single, and I love albums. That was a little early. I don't think there's like an album other than Buddy Holly's Greatest Hits, or one came up after he lived. Buddy Holly Lives. That was good, and then great. And then there's also, oh God, he just came out about 4 or 5 years ago. Buddy Holly with the Royal Philharmonic. That's pretty deadly as well. A slight spin on some of his old stuff. So I don't know if there's an album other than Greatest Hits, like I said, with Joan Jett, unless I'm wrong. But when I talk about the Beatles and albums, they didn't create that art form, but I think they really brought it to a new level, right? And people like Elvis and Bo Diddley, Buddy Holly, Paul Anka, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, B.B. King. I don't think Johnny Horton. I don't think they were writing songs thinking about the album as a whole. Most of them were thinking about how the hits, writing hits and putting out hits, and that's what the industry wanted, right? But in saying that, Buddy Holly was early. He was an early, not the first, but he wrote a lot of his own stuff. Most of his own stuff, Buddy Holly and the Crickets. He was rock, but he was rockabilly, right? It was like country and rock. He's from Lubbock, Texas, right? That's where he got it, playing at bowling alleys and stuff for school. So it's early like rockabilly kind of thing. And anyway, just there's a lot of reasons that I love Buddy Holly, but and he passed away. I think he's 21 or 22. Richie Valens and the Big Bopper. It's a great story. If you haven't seen it, the Buddy Holly story. Say what you want about Gary Busey, man. He's a bit of a wild child, but he was a great actor, and I think he might have he definitely got nominated for it. Buddy Holly story. Check it out. Everything Buddy Holly's great. I mean, I can almost say any song. There's not many artists that whatever's out there is so, most of it's out there and most of it's real good. Most of it's real good. There, check out Buddy Holly. If you want to go to film school, put the time in. Thanks for listening. Sandman coming up real soon in 268B. And we'll catch you guys on the rebound. Thanks for listening. If you're in St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador, and you're downtown, why not hit Trinity Pub, TJ's Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Green Sleeves, and, of course, the Bull and Barrel. If you're going to eat, Loose Tie, Blue on Water, Wedgwood Cafe. You're going to work out, Ryan Power Conditioning, Rope Walk Lane. You're going to go to Mr. Lube, Torbay Road, Cammount Road, Live, Laugh, Lube. Carpet Factory, laying the carpet for your community. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community if you're out in Edmonton. Crown Cabinets, just because. True Hockey, take what's yours. Lug Sports, check it out. Of course, Muggsy Jeans. I love me Muggsy Jeans. Thanks for listening, folks. Love you guys. See you in just a couple days. More Tales with Tia.